Flat tires happen all the time, and most of the time you won't have anyone there to help you out. So most important thing to know is where your spare is. Most cars, the spare is kept in the trunk underneath the floorboard. Lift it up, and there's your spare tire. Now most cars come with all the essential tools you'll need to change it. This comes down to a lot of preference, whether these simple tools are going to help you the most when changing your tire. You also have a jack in here with your tire, located here. Now how the jack stays in this brace here is it's actually open a little bit. So in order to get it out, you have to close the jack just by twisting the edge, and then it should pop right out. You want to check this and make sure it's not flat, because if you go through all the effort to change your tire just to have a flat spare, you're kind of out of luck. On most cars, your spare tire is held down by something. Here you just have to twist this to get it out. Make sure you keep track of every part you take out while in this process. You don't want to lose anything at the end. Pull that out, and then your tire should pop right out. So when you're changing your tire, you want to make sure that you are parked on a flat surface, or as flat as you can be, and preferably in dry weather. Obviously, sometimes if you get a flat tire in an inconvenient location, you can't always get to a flat area. Try to drive to the safest exit that you can. If not, just work with what you have. When you jack up a car, all of the weight of the car kind of focuses in on one tire. In this case, I'm going to be changing my back left tire. So I'm going to put a rock that I just found in my environment. If you can't find a rock, you can always have with you some kind of wheel stop wedge. You can use shoes if you have them in your car. Anything that'll stop the car from moving. And you just want to tuck it under the opposite tire that you plan to change. So this is the tire I'm going to change. This is my flat. I want to start off by jacking it up. Now there are some more effective jacks out there that you can buy and just carry with you. I'm just using the one that came with my car. This is probably going to be the thing that's most accessible to most people. So you want to slide it in under your car and start lifting it up just a little bit to make your job easier. But if you look underneath the car, there's these two notched spots, and that's made for the jack to squeeze in. So you just lift it until you're pretty close. Now I have the jack set up and in place. It has no pressure on it right now. It's not going to be able to lift up the car. Now I take this tool, this hook tool, and you want to hook it right in the groove here. And then you're going to lift up the jack with this device. It makes it a lot easier. Now you really don't have to lift up a car as much as you think. It really only has to go until the bottom of the tire you plan to change is slightly lifting off the ground. So if you're just looking at the bottom of the tire, you'll see it slowly raising up. And it's just about off the ground now. Okay, so now to the nitty-gritty stuff. You want to start off by removing your hubcap. Don't be afraid of breaking it. It should just pop off if you get your fingers in behind it. Okay, so then you just pop it right off and set it somewhere safe. Sometimes when you're driving, the tire itself can fuse to the rim. This happens from just use and water that gets in there. So when you first try to remove your tire, if it doesn't quite budge, you just want to give your tire a few light kicks just to make sure that it dislodges itself. So from then, the next thing you want to do is you want to loosen up all of these bolts around the tire. When loosening them, you want to move in a star pattern. This is to make sure that the weight stays evenly distributed throughout the tire and nothing breaks or snaps. You take a tool like this. There's an easier one to use that comes in an X pattern and it just gives you more leverage, but this is the one that came with my car, so this is what I'm going to show you. You insert it here and then you twist. Now, most tires, bolts are on pretty tight, so if you can't quite get it off, use your foot, use any kind of leverage you can to twist it around. Again, this is very tricky to do, and it might be easier with a different tool, but this is the one that I have. Okay, so now I'm just removing all of the bolts completely. Now these are very important to hold on to, because even if you're not using this tire anymore, this is what you're using to put on the new tire. They have kind of this outreached part over here. This is the side that goes up against the tire. So when you put them back on, they will go like this. Now, my tire was a little stuck onto the car again, so I gave it a couple good whacks and it popped right off the rim. Now I'm literally just going to lift it straight off and move it to the side. And that's how you take off a tire. Putting a tire back on is basically the same thing, except in reverse. So I'm going to put the tire back on using the same one. You want to get your foot underneath it as a leverage point. That's why it's better if you have some kind of good work shoe on. From here, never stick your fingers in here because you run the risk of getting your fingers caught in the rim. So you want to lift up from either side and match the tire up with the bolts. And get your tire right on there. From here, you just want to screw on each bolt with the right side going in just a couple times so that it stays on and you don't run the risk of your tire falling off. Again, try to do this in a star pattern to keep weight evenly distributed throughout the rim. Now that I have all of these on just a little bit, you want to get the tire back up in the right position. Tie them as much as you can by hand. Make sure you're keeping the tire flush up against the rim. And then from there, you'll take your tool again and tighten them all completely. The most important thing you want to find is where the air pressure gauge goes. It's a little indent for it. So here's a knob. It's just like changing a bike tire. You fit that right around it, all the way around. Make sure it's on there. And your tire's changed. The last thing you have to do is take off your jack. I'm going to do it the same way I put it on, but in reverse. Simply lower it down until the tire has touched the ground. There we go, the tire is now resting back on the ground, and then you want to keep lowering it. You can start doing it by hand until you can just slide the jack out. Then all you have to do is clean up, put everything away, and you have changed your tire.